Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Astro Weather. I am your Astro Weatherman, Robert Phoenix. I miss the old weather days on local TV. We have a high pressure front coming in from the northwest, and it will settle here for about 24 hours. Meanwhile, a low pressure front will be coming in from the southeast. And right about the time this high pressure front is about to fade, this low pressure front will come in and start to assert its dominance over the high pressure front. And you know, when that happens, you're fucked. Okay, we got that out. Let's see, who do we have? My man DJMC right at the top. He's like the Ricky Henderson. He's the Ricky Henderson of chat. Mary Lee coming in from Nashville. I gotta get back to Nashville one of these days. A fun town. Let's see, AR. AR has suggested that I have a Grateful Dead theme this fall. And for those of you who have listened to my musical commentaries, you'll know that I do enjoy a couple of Grateful Dead tracks here and there, but on the whole, it's not a group that I wholly endorse. But it's okay if you like them and find meaning in them. There are groups that I like that other people may not like. You know, like I like Todd Rundgren, and not everybody likes Todd Rundgren. And not everything Todd Rundgren has done is great. But yeah. Thank you for the suggestion. And because you, AR, one of these days, I just might play a Grateful Dead track. Just for you. But just one. Kelly B, what's happening? Christina Jerzik getting in there a little bit above Scott today. What's up, CJ? Jackie Delario. Go hit that farmer's market today, Jackie. Susie G, what's happening? The Queen of Hearts. Pink and Feliz, is that my favorite desert? Joshua Tree. Could be. It could be. If it isn't, it can be. Scott Jerzik, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. I had a disaster. I had a disaster one time in Joshua Tree. It wasn't a disaster, but it was something that it was not really pleasant. And I'm going to tell you, it was one of the greatest astrological lessons of my life. And since we're talking about astrology, I'll tell you about my Joshua Tree trip. So happens that at this time I am married. I'm living in San Diego. The woman who I'm married to is an Aries. Okay, you want to bookmark that. Aries, Aries, Aries. And it was February. Now, her mother had passed away in February. And so every time the date of her mother's passing would come up, she would want to go somewhere or get out of her routine. She didn't want to think about the passing of her mother. So she said, I'd really like to go to Joshua Tree. And being the good husband that I was, I said, okay, we'll make that happen. Can we rent an RV? Oh, well, let me see if I can find an RV. So I find this place in like Diamond Bar or something like that. And we go there and we see the RV that we're going to rent. Now, there are certain things about RVs that I didn't know. Like, for instance, they leave the door of the refrigerator open with the RV when it's not being used. And so it smells. It smells like mold. I didn't know that. And so we go in there and it stinks. And we're like, well, I'm not sure I want this RV. It's not a big place. It's kind of a small to medium-sized place renting RVs. And so I go into the front desk area. Say, hey, there's this RV smells. It's like, what's going on with this RV? Can you help us out with this? So we're in the back, right? And they have like the area where there's guys who work on the RVs. So there's the front of the house and the back of the house. And the back of the house guys are, they're mostly Mexican, but not imports. Like, they've been living there. I'm just giving you a demographic. I'm not stereotyping. And then the people in the front of the house, well, they're not Mexican. This woman goes back to the back and starts talking to these guys instead of addressing the issue. What's going on? It's okay. She just starts fucking yelling at him. I'm like, whoa, why did you do that? Now I'm the bad guy. And I got to deal with these guys. And now I'm the bad guy. And then we started looking at the tires and they were a little sketchy. So now my wife at the time does not want to take this RV. So I go to the front desk to tell them that we're not going to take the RV. They're gone. They're closed. Now we're just dealing with the guys. Like, hey, sorry. First of all, I didn't mean them to come back here and yell. But I just wanted to have these things looked at and addressed. So I apologize for that. And secondly, we're not going to take the RV. They're like, okay, all right, just let them know. But they're cool. I'm cool. Now my ex-wife, she was wife then, says, let's go to Walmart and let's go buy some camping equipment and let's go to Joshua Tree. Now, this is the Aries lesson. Libra guy, 3 planets Libra, like, hey, why don't we take some clues from the environment? I like to read what's going on, and I'm sensing a lot of resistance with going to Joshua Tree. Oh no, let's get camping equipment. So what do? We get camping equipment. Buy a bunch of fucking camping equipment. We only can buy 10. We get sleep. I mean, literally, we buy enough to spend the night in Joshua Tree, because that's really what it was. So we get our camping equipment, go to Joshua Tree, we find our spot. Okay, it's, we'll go there and make dinner, and all of a sudden, the weather changes. And I've never spent a colder night outdoors than that February in Joshua Tree. And that's even after, like, this is back in the imbibing days, probably shouldn't have forgotten. Right? I was like freezing my nuts off the entire night, didn't sleep, woke up, and then we're going to go hike around Joshua Tree, and then pack up our car and go back to the house in San Diego. And it was the Aries. It was like, nope, doesn't matter. Obstacle. Nope. Keep pushing. And it's like, I get it now. I have a front row seat for this. So my experience with Joshua Tree, I was there another time to see, fairly pleasant. But that night was, it was a lesson. It was definitely a lesson. Maya Rose is here. What's happening? Misbehaving too. Nora Rashid, the queen of speed, is back with us. Moira, it's cooled off in NYC. Summer winding down. Yes, it is. There she is, Orlando. Cup of coffee with Scream. Go check out her podcast. It's a really good listen. Roughly around 25 minutes. It's sort of like the Gothic Appalachian prairie home companion. That's how I describe it. My man Ryan is back. I hope you caught some big whoppers out there. Ryan was fishing. Yes, you can sign up to be a member of Locals. I said I was going to be on last night. I get a little sidetracked. Tonight, I'm even going to make a little announcement on Locals. Let's see who else we have here. Melissa Stanton from Florida. Moon Sprouts here. Yes, Mercury retrograde is no more. Hooray! Hooray! I purchased 3 pulleys for my truck during Mercury retrograde. because each pulley until the third one that I purchased was not the right pulley. It's kind of hard, to size things up. However, I did find a very good uh, place if you're looking for pulleys. That's all they do is pulleys, based out of Illinois. The pulleys are us. Green-eyed Crow's here. Tom's here. I have a confession. Tom almost overslept today. If it wasn't for me, Tom would still be sawing some logs today. But he's dedicated. He got right to it. Soul Travelers here. Katie Barton. What's happening? Joe Potter. What's happening, Joe? Ready? Ha-da-da! There she is, the lovely and talented one. Saving Austin one tooth at a time. Road Trip 1981. Hi, darling. Harry Bowie. Heya, heya, heya. I love our heya, heya. Queen Lisa in the house. ISCC Patricia. Howdy, howdy, howdy. There she is. The Oklahoma Wildcat, Janice Phillips. Claire, our lovely Claire from Scotland. I try to inspire you with the thumbnails. I do my best to give you something at any given part of your day. You say, I like looking at that. Not me, that. My man, Steve, what's happening, Thor? Rainbows and butterflies. Nicole DePaulo, morning back to you. Who else we have? Oh, look at that. Janet's got some chore help from Nick. Oh, you go, Nick. Artist Sierra's back. Grand rising to you. Janine is here. Hi, Janine. I'm suggesting big band music for the fall. Boy, you guys are taking K's here. Not the biggest fan of the genre. Just saying. Just saying. The Big Bad Voodoo Daddy or Squirrel Nut Zippers, I could go there. I could go. But Tommy Dorsey, Benny Goodman, maybe Count Basie. It's not my. But keep trying. Keep trying. If you suggest Banda or Norteño, you'll be a complete 0 for 3 today. Not you, Melissa. Barbara Boots, they're made for walking dogs, that is. Magic Cat with an ICK, what's happening? Please come to Nashville. Please come to Nashville in the springtime. Yes, please hit the like. We're stuck on 14.4. Please get some more subscribers. I'm going to be like one of those UNICEF ads. I'll do some like I don't know, AI stuff. I'll be all gone. We need you to subscribe to 15 Minutes of Flame and the Astro Weather. We need it so badly. Only one subscription per day can change a life. Mary Grether, what's happening? I love Todd. Todd is God. Todd is God. We just saw him in Tulsa. He was great. And he didn't bash Trump. What a bonus. You get great Todd and no Trump bashing. Let's see. What else we have here? Anne Murray, the Canadian songbird. Anne. Why don't we go like Anne Murray and Judy Collins? What about that? Would be a wonderful fall. Anne Murray, Judy Collins. Who else can we put in there? That would kind of fit that bill. How about Anne Murray, Judy Collins, Melanie? Yeah, she's a little quirky, but Melanie might fit. Maceo Gabbard, yo, 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 yo. Coffees, yes, coffee. Everybody who's bought me a cup of coffee, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. One of these days, I'm going to do a crawl. I'm going to put everybody's name on the crawl for the coffee. It'll be a long call. Let's see. Atlantis Rising. What's happening? Let's see. Jeff Rosen's in the house. Welcome to America with a K, the best show in America. Sigurd, man, hail ferrets. Well met. There you go. Aaron out from Northwest Indiana. Northwest Indiana. The NAGA movement. What's going on? Yes, come join us. Come join us. I'll play a little video at the end of the show. I remember I said I was going to do it yesterday. I'm going to do it today. Let's see what else we have here. 15 minutes of flame. 15 minutes of flame is about to get hot. We're going to have a long running narrative. About to get hot. You are my sunshine. You are my sunshine. We're all each other's sunshine. I see you've reached 14.5. I've been at 14.5 for like 6 fucking months. Okay, 6 fucking months. Sweet Woodruff coming in. This is not saying SJS. It's not demeaning. I'm just saying. Been there for a while. Sweet Woodruff from the DFW. What's up, Sweet? 1,000 on Rumble. Went from 987 to 988 the last 2 weeks. We're burning up Rumble. Let's see what else we have. Havana Blast. What's happening? Aries are fun. They can be. They can be. I've noticed that most of the most significant women in my life all have Venus in Aries. No joke. Including the lovely and talented one. Peter Biome, what's going on, brother? Getting ready to go out there and kick some ass. He was going to go kick some ass in a good way today. You guys are making me feel better. We have that effect. We have a salutary effect. Should have bought a decent sleeping bag for 2, Robert Phoenix. I think we might have. I've kind of numbed that memory out of my brain. What was colder, the weather or your wife? That's a really interesting question. Definitely the weather. The weather. But my ex-wife was really interesting in a certain regard. I've noticed this with Aries. Like they can really run heat through their body, especially their hands. Like her hands were fucking like stovetop burner sometimes. I'm like, wow. You got some juice coming through those hands. But she was not into that idea of like using them for anything other than day-to-day tasks. Very interesting. Kanya Curtis is with us this morning. Beautiful. Good to see you. The goats got milk early today. Let's see. Good. Sun Trucker Thompson's here. There you go. Check out Orlando. You can check her stuff over there. It's a nice little listen. Aries rising. I rarely give up, even when that's it. That's the lesson. That is the lesson. Bernie Sanders with Mars and Aries apparently did not get the lesson. That motherfucker pulled. He would have gone back to Encinitas instead of buying the equipment and going to Joshua Tree and sleeping through the sub 30-degree weather night. He would have packed it in. Sounds like some serious snuggling in that sleeping bag. I can't remember. I can't. Let's see what else we have here. Ray the Gemini and Vero Beach here. We got a Vero Beach group. You guys should do a meetup. There's at least 3 Vero Beachers. Good to see you, Ray. RPM done snitched on you. Yes, I got to keep Tom in line here. Tom, by the way, has slept better in Texas than he was in the East Coast. And apparently today is a testament to that. Julie Moss is here. Mercury Direct is the thing. You got that right. Look at that. Sharon Lewis, Vera Beach. Peter Bayonne, Vera Beach. Intrinsic, Vera Beach. Vera Beach has it going on. Let's see. Scrubbies is back from the dog walk and making banana bread. You go, Tamara. Let's see, who else do we have here? You subbed to me twice. It's kind of like voting. That's funny. Em is here. Life has been very difficult for many. Yes. We're glad you're here, Em. Julianne Ross is here. Hi, Julianne. Denali. Joan. Oh, yeah, there we go. A month of Judy Collins, Anne Murray, Joan Baez. Now that sounds like a great musical. Maybe you throw in a little Merry Travelers while we're at it. Sorry. W.C. Ray, it's too early. My brother, it's good to see you. Got the best of Todd Room playing in the background. Look at that. It's a Todd kind of day. When we degrade, you know, I got to say, RFK's speech on the environment is fucking inspired, right? He understands it. I always hated that the Democrats just basically break the environment down into fucking chunks of carbon. Carbon this, carbon that, carbon credit, carbon. There's nothing in their talking point that extols the beauty of nature and preserving the beauty of nature and making sure that nature stays more natural than it has been. They complete, you know, when they asked Trump about like the environment back when he was running for president, I forget, like 25 or 26. He said, "Look, we need to have clean water." You know, he was basically saying the same thing that RFK said, but not nearly as eloquently. And I'm glad he's brought that up because we have been disconnected. The Democrats and the Republicans, because with the exception of Thomas Massey, because he's a guy that dwells in nature, they've just dropped nature on the side of the road. And it's just become a fucking talking point in carbon this, carbon that. You 14.4, 14.5 is recent. I'm greedy. Use it 13. What's happening? Catherine Rosen is here. I'm a young man with Venus and Aries square Saturn and Cap. I want to be wild, but Saturn punishes any hasty and brash activity. I take in money and love. Venus Saturn squares. Your relationships may not be many, but the ones you do have will be true. Let's see. Who else? Oh, Maisie 808. Nature is the only thing that hasn't gone weird. Maybe that's just me, though. They've got this typhoon out there on the coast of Japan. Feels very manipulated, if you ask me. Changes directions, hangs out. Oh, yeah. Keep it going for a while. Let's see. What else we have? Intrinsic Gem Sun Sag Rising. Cool. Welcome to the show. Let's see. Integrity Carbon Aries Rising. I'm your spirit animal. Okay. Let's see. I have a lot of fire in my chart. Also, a Reiki master. I'm telling you, man, Aries have that primal fire that runs through them. I'm telling you. Let's see. I love all signs, by the way. A lifetime of failure is humbled with double Aries. You got to meet it head on, man. Head on. That should be the Aries motto. Literally, head on. Jan Schiavino loves Todd Rundgren. Todd Arwood. That was a good one. I don't know why I actually saw that. We should do a Vero Beach Astro Club. You guys should definitely do a meetup. Maria Diange. What's happening, Sharon Lewis? Yes, I like Judy Cohen. No, please. I'm saying that in jest. I'm saying it in jest. I'm sure they're lovely women, and they have lovely voices. You can find them on Spotify. Juice Newton, perhaps. Let's see, who else do we have? Daryl canceled his tour. Yep. Not feeling too well. Cookie Van Duzen. The dogs are howling, joining the wild donkeys in a morning serenade. I wish I could see that. Lana Labonte, Lana Labonte, Lana Labonte. Global concretism. Potash from just outside Philly. Always a big favorite in South Jersey. Oh, Linda Gordon is here. Let's start talking about meat. I made the best green chili this week with a natural pork shoulder. It's so good. Used Hatch chilies. All right, let's get on with the show. Enough of this falderall. Thank you all for being here. Can we just celebrate the end of Mercury? Normally, I'm not in. It's like, okay, we're moving on. It's another. It's another. It's another Astro Day. Let's see. Let's zoom in a little bit. It's another Astro Day. It just happens to be the end of Mercury. I just think not that this Mercury retrograde was brutal or terrible, but it's definitely been challenging. Ain't gonna lie. So it is fini. And the idea of the shadow. There's this guy named what's his name? Gary Caton, Caton, who's a very good astrologer, by the way. And he did a very long dissertation about the fallacy of Mercury retrograde and shadow. So I'm here to liberate you all from the idea of the shadow. Shadow be gone. Shadow be gone. We're going direct. Put it in gear and let's move forward. We talked about Aries. Mercury is in the Aries decan. Yes, that's right. So that means that all that pent up energy is going to blast ahead. Use this day to make an enthusiastic exclamation on your ability to make something happen in the world. Embrace it. Embrace it. I've been thinking about this Mars-Jupiter conjunction. And I think it's really interesting that last Friday, when RFK announced he was dropping his campaign and joining Trump, it had a very Gemini kind of effect. Didn't it? It was a very Gemini. It was like, okay, all of a sudden, they were connected and together. And I thought to myself, well, is there another layer to this? I'm like, didn't Trump have a brother named Robert? And absolutely. And he passed away, I think, about a year or two ago. Robert's the father of Mary Trump, who, of course, loved Donald Trump. And I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. Trump loses a brother named Robert, and now metaphorically, he has a new brother named Robert, and it's all under the sign of Gemini. And of course, Trump is a Gemini. Like, this is really interesting. And you astrophiles out there, I'm sure you might find that a little interesting as well. So we have Mercury moving forward in that nice sextile with Jupiter, in that nice sextile with Mars. Black pill be damned. Do not let them demoralize your spirit. You can look at things and be critical. You can be discerning, but never surrender your flame. Never surrender your flame. If you have to move your flame in a different direction, it's okay. Never surrender your flame. The black pill, in my estimation, is a fucking trap. It's a trap. Because literally, the only way the black pill works is if you go all the way and you basically denounce everything. And then you go through this scorpionic fire and you come out the other side. But the black pill is a limited hang. And what I mean by that is that it's not the people who are dealing the black pills, although they're kind of a limited hang. You can't stay there forever. Like, it will not sustain you. It will not sustain a person. No is not a bad thing. No is a fundamental response to a bunch of bullshit that we've been served up for a very long time. It needs to be a selective no. If you're just black pilled all the way, imagine being in a community with a bunch of people. When I say a community, I'm talking about like a physical community with a bunch of people who are totally black pilled. Unless they can move past their black pill moment or consciousness, I'm not sure that their community will thrive, because they will need to find the pilot light inside them, which is the thing that will keep their inner flame burning. So with Mercury moving forward, trining Mars, trining Jupiter, and this is nothing political, okay? It's nothing political. You don't have to believe in Trump or RFK or whatever. But I do feel that this is a moment where you can say, I am fucking alive, and guess what? I'm going to make the most of my living. I'm going to make the most of my living. This is an affirmation. And the hell with the rest of you who are essentially telling me that I am deluded or I am filled with illusion because I don't subscribe to the black pill. In fact, I think that is a radical course of action. The black pill is not radical anymore. I remember one time it was radical. Oh, man. Taking the heart out of that sacred cow. I spent the 2010s black pilling people in my own way. I haven't written in a long time, but if you ever wanted to go back to my blog, go to my blog and read some of my blog posts, which unfortunately I had so many images on my blog and they're all gone, and it's really disheartening. But man, I spent the 2010s black pilling people because it needed to happen. There was way too much hopium during the 2010s. And it had nothing to do with Trump or anything. I was really focused on the so-called spiritual leaders like Oprah and Deepak Chopra and Tony Robbins and Marianne Williamson and Barbara Marx Hubbard. Like, I thought to myself, these people are fucking frauds. Because when people were suffering, they didn't address it. They never addressed it. So I went through the 2010s doing a lot of black pill stuff, slaughtering a lot of sacred cows. I didn't get black pilled, but I went through it. It was important. Everybody at some point has to go through the endarkenment, but you can't stay there. You can't stay there. You got to come through the other side, right? There's a synthesis of the light and the dark, and you come through the other side. And that's where wholeness and individuation comes about. So now that Mercury's retrograde, say it loud, say it proud. I'm alive. My heart is pumping. My brain is on fire. And I'm going to make the most of every single day and moment that I have here. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. You know, we talked about Aries earlier. Aries understand the energy of enthusiasm. When you see Tim Walz, he's a fucking buffoon and he's a creepy person, but he's an Aries, and guess what he does? He gets people enthusiastic. The Rip Taylor of politics. You can live your life and connect into, you can connect into the power of creation. Just think about that for a second. The power of God and creation pumps through your very heart, right? Pumps through your very heart. You are a custodian of that. And it's difficult at times. We all suffer setbacks. But what the world needs now is a little more heart pumping, right? A little more affirmation. And now that Mercury's direct, let the games begin. I'm sick and tired of the fucking black pill. You know what else the black pill does? It's a form of censorship. Look at you. You're talking about politics. Oh, you're so 2016. 2016 wants you back. It's a form of censorship. Because if you don't talk about the right thing, and you don't denounce the right people or the right system or the right this or the right that, well, you're just not qualified to talk. Right? Look, I don't have any illusions. Hey, this Trump Kennedy thing might be really good. It may fall fucking flat on his face. That's life, right? It's life. Adults deal with it. They deal with disappointment. You know, we're not kids who didn't get the swing set. But you promised us a swing set. You deal accordingly. You know, and if Peter Thiel or whatever, and the Silicon Valley Mafia, and they want to set up the control grid and the Bitcoin and the CBDC, guess what? You deal with it. Because what are your options? What are your options? Well, I'm just going to go. I know most of you would say no. And then you figure it out. Can you be proactive? Put people together, you know, organize on some level? You should be doing that already. All right. Enough preaching. The moon is in Cancer. I should be more sensitive. And it is in a nice little trine there with Saturn. I love it. Right? These are two planetary bodies that are very different. This energy allows you, the moon in Cancer is receptive, it's intuitive, and it's standing on authority. Own what you feel. Own what you feel. It's okay. It's okay to own what you feel. And to do it with a sense of gravitas. You're not an airhead. You're not some fucking, you know, sunshine slurping Pollyanna. Many of you have been through the wars. We've lost friends. We've lost family. We've seen the worst fucking part of what government and tyranny can do to this point. And you're still here. And the most potent weapon in all of this is to never lose sight of the fact that you are a divine being having a human experience, or you're a human being having a divine experience. Never lose sight of that. because that's what they want you to do. The black pill reminds me of Sartre. It's this existentialist void where the communion is nothing but a stream of data points about who's more corrupt. Corruption is real. It's part of being on this world. And this world will never be perfect, ever. It might get close to it, maybe, but it's not meant to be. All right. We got Venus at 20, was that 29 Virgo? It's right there hanging out the final degrees of this grand trine. Well, not really. If it goes to 0 Libra, which it will, it'll still be in there, but it'll just be different. Venus and Libra, I love Venus and Libra. Right now, we can turn our attention towards aesthetics and relationships and the quality and value of those in our lives, and to be fair and balanced. Hello? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Venus Mars square, we got into that yesterday. There's a lot of passion. You know, if you got a Venus Mars square in your chart, it's not the end of the world. You're just passionate. A lot of makeup sex. What else is happening? The Sun Uranus square, that's coming to an end. By the weekend, it'll be out. It'll be out. It'll be done. The Sun is kind of moving into a very interesting, almost singleton space, because it's not going to be in. So by the time the Sun gets to what, 10 Virgo, or no, 8 Virgo, 8 Virgo, the moon will be in Leo. It'll have no connection to the moon. It'll have no connection with Jupiter, and I guess it'll start to oppose Saturn. That's what we'll have. So it won't be a complete singleton. And the Sun-Saturn opposition is interesting. To me, the Sun in Virgo is, I'm going to do it myself. I can do this myself. I can handle this myself. The opposition with Saturn. Saturn says, no, you can't do it this way. It's like the HOA. Saturn's like the HOA. The Sun in Virgo is, get off my lawn. Stay away. Right? So this is going to be an interesting transit with this Sun-Saturn opposition. And I really feel like we're going to start to see some health stuff. Like now we're into the big picture. We're into like monkeypox territory, West Nile virus territory, right? Saturn in Pisces, retrograde, like, you know, leaning back into the time of shared contagion or theoretical. And then you have the high priest of the shared contagion. Well, you must get vaccinated. You must wear a mask. You must lock down. And here comes the Sun in Virgo, and it's like, fuck you, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for people wanting to be independently healthy versus the high priest of science telling you and dictating what you are going to do. It'll be a test. Mercury is going to start to move back into an almost exact trine with Chiron. And I think there's the potential for being both affirmative and declarative, and at the same time, giving space and permission for others whose voice may not be as loud. And I remember when I started to stream heavily in 2020 around COVID, I just did it because it felt important. And, you know, and over the years, you know, people have thanked me and said, I really appreciate what you did. And I just did it because I felt it was important. And by speaking up, and speaking up in a way, like, again, I don't want to pick on these people, but I have to in some ways. Like when I listen to Derek Rose and I listen to Whitney Webb and James Corbett to a lesser extent, they're talking down to people. That's not a way to win people over. They're talking down to people. Like, well, if you believe this, you're just an ignoramus and you can't be a part of our little club. That's not a way to win people over. They don't know any other way. I asked Derek Rose on Twitter yesterday. I said, and I even put at Congressman Thomas Massey in the tweet. I said, so hey, what do you think of at Congressman Thomas Massey? He seems like he's one of the few people in our government that isn't bought and sold and paid. And Derek Rose says, "Oh, I interviewed him once. He was a nice man, and he seemed like he saw through the lie, but he's still a part of the system." And I said, well, maybe if we had about 20 more Thomas Masseys, 30 more Thomas Masseys, the system wouldn't look the same. Anyway, I guess what I'm saying is that without being demeaning or condescending, speak your truth. And when you do, others who are less grounded or have less, I'll use the word courage, have less courage, will be emboldened by it. Will be emboldened by it. It's a tonic. Speak the truth in a loving and positive way. Make a few people laugh along the way. It's good medicine. Mercury square Uranus, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it, right? I am pushing back on the black pill. I'm pushing back on it. And by pushing back on it, I am not affirming Trump and RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. The two things are not mutually exclusive, right? I'm interested in seeing what happens. I'm interested. Let's see what happens. Have we ever seen it before? No. It's something new. And I don't care if it's a rebrand and getting people reinvested again. Like, you can still watch it, look at it. You can have a critical response to it, or you can say, hey, I'm in. But for people to denounce it outright and say you can't get into it, or it's bullshit, or it's merely politics, is in its own way a form of censorship. Right? They're censoring you, or they're trying to censor you. And they're trying to censor you because it's not cool. Oh, you don't know anything. It's a subtle form of censorship. It's implying that if you talk about this, you're on the wrong side of the issue, and therefore you're not valid. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. All right. Our True Hemp Science started the day as we sometimes I feel like we should have a longer show. All right, let's get right into this. Our True Hemp Science star of the day is a complicated figure, and his name is Michael Jackson. Born, shares the same birthday as John McCain. And I chose, it's really funny when you do a search for Michael Jackson images, all you get is like the later day Jacko. And I still have some reservations as to whether or not that's actually him. I think the Pepsi commercial did a lot more damage to Michael Jackson than people let on, but that's a different story. Let's look at his chart. Saturn on the midheaven. You know who that is. That's Papa Joe. Remember, Saturn is the father, and he was the manager and the handler of the Jackson 5, because there was a Jackson 5 before there was Michael Jackson. if we look at Saturn just in general, this is Michael's work ethic. And what's interesting is the trines, right, that are going on down here. Let me just make this a little bigger. So we can all see it. Because Michael has a bunch of Leo in his chart. He's got Mercury in Leo. He's got Venus in Leo. So we've got some trine action there. What else is Saturn doing? Let's look at this. Saturn trine Uranus. Saturn trine Venus. Saturn trine Mercury. So this is all sixth house. So he works hard, right? He's a sixth house person. He's a Virgo with the sun in the sixth house. He's born on a full moon. See that over there? There's the moon in Pisces on his ascendant. And to me, Michael really strikes the Piscean rising figure. He's shy, he's quiet, he's kind of dreamy. Am I right? I mean, that's kind of how he is. He captures the public's imagination. He's very feminine. Michael's very, very feminine. And there's a very hard square here between Saturn and the moon. And again, astrologically, traditionally, Saturn moon squares are about depression. Michael Jackson, I guarantee you, was depressed. And he probably had every right to be. It's also fascinating that being a Pisces rising, you have to take into account that Quincy Jones is a Pisces. And Quincy's in here somewhere, right? Maybe conjunct his moon. He's in the first. And Quincy Jones plays a huge role in the success of Michael Jackson. Quincy's behind the board on Thriller. And together with Quincy's sun and Michael's moon, right, it is the alchemical marriage that creates one of the, I mean, it's an okay album. I love Human Nature. I think it's a great song. But it creates one of the greatest selling records of all time. But the other thing with the moon in Pisces is that Michael Jackson's kind of an elusive figure. And as he moves through his life, that moon takes on a very different connotation. You know, you get into the Never Neverland stuff and, you know, some of the pedophilia stories, which I'm not going to get into here, but I do know some things about Never Neverland. And again, I'm going to throw out there that quite possibly the person that we saw as Michael Jackson later may not have been Michael Jackson all the time. Just saying. He's got Neptune in Scorpio, 8th house, Jupiter in Libra, and the true node in Libra, right there conjunct. That's huge money. Huge, huge money. And not only that, but Libra tends to be a very creative sign. A lot of times it can be very dilettantish. But when you come into that sextile with Jupiter and the true node with Mercury, it's not, right? You know, he's incredibly creative. From the moonwalk, which he learned from, I guess, one of the guys in Shalimar, to his singing. Michael Jackson was a very creative person. And he was clearly the star of the Jackson Five. Everybody else was just there. You know, I'm sure Tito and Marlon are nice guys, but they're not the Jackson Five. Where we get into a real interesting dilemma in his chart. This, to me, this Moon Saturn square is, for him, I think it's very problematic. And I do think he suffered from depression. And then the Saturn and Joe is like, it's a bad story. And even this in conjunct with Mars, right, with Saturn, like what's really going on here? And there are bad stories about Joe and the Jackson Five, and what they did in studios and TV shows and recording sessions. They're not great. When you look at Joe Jackson, he's a very dark looking man. I'm not even referring to his skin tone. So we have the T square. There's Mars in Taurus, second house. He's going to work hard again. Like, nobody would ever accuse Michael Jackson of being fucking lazy. And again, whatever persona that was post bad. By the way, everything post bad, I'm not a fan. I'm not even really a fan of bad. I mean, really, Michael Jackson bad? I'm bad. I'm bad. He's not bad. Michael, you whoever you were, you weren't bad. Please. I was laughable. It was laughable. Grabbing the crotch, it was like overkill. Go back to singing, kind of sensitive and loving semi-disco funk tunes. I'm sorry. Anyway, Mars and Taurus, square Chiron. He's got Chiron in the 12th house. He feels completely misunderstood. Can't fit in, which I totally get. And then you got this Mars square going on, and lots of Mars squares happening. Mars square Venus, Mars square Mercury, Mars square Uranus, Mars square Chiron, T squared off, fixed Mars T square. Maybe overworked. Maybe that's what broke him. Just trying to get into this T square more. There's this story, and again, I can't confirm its validity, but there's this story that Joe Jackson had Michael castrated when he was young, so he could continue his falsetto voice. Now, I don't know if it was a chemical castration or it was an act. This is a rumor that was floating around for a long time. And with this T square, I can kind of see it. I can kind of see that there's something here about Michael with Mars, because Mars has no harmonic resonance in his chart. He has an inability or a challenge to express his Mars. And remember, Taurus rules the throat chakra, right? It rules the throat chakra. And Mars rules the sexual organs. I think there could be some truth to that. I think there could absolutely be some truth to that. Joe Jackson was a ruthless man. So how did they get all the babies? They weren't his. And that's a different story for a different time. I want to thank True Hemp Science for being the sponsor of this segment. And if you go to truehempscience.com and you spend $100 or more, type in 15MINS, you get the goodie bag. This is not the entirety of the goodie bag, but you will more than likely get a couple of Starlight gummies, which, by the way, will make you very happy you made the purchase. Go to truehempscience.com, make an appointment, talk to Chris, talk to his assistant, find out which CBD product works best for you. They'll help you out. $150, get you free shipping, and there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. One final thing about Michael Jackson before we leave, and it has to do with the amount of fire in this chart. Right here. It has to do with the amount of fire. There's a lot of fire. And fire plays a very significant role in the life of Michael Jackson during the Pepsi commercial, which I believe was much more severe than they let on. Remember, the Jacksons were getting ready to embark on their victory tour. And they were going to tour the world, and right on the heels of Michael Jackson's breakthrough smash pop success, they needed Michael to be a part of that tour. Remember, a lot of times with the big glasses, right? A lot of times with the mask that would cover part of his face. I'm just saying that the Michael Jackson we saw at a certain point in time may not have always been the Michael Jackson that we knew. I'm blackpilling you on Michael. I'm sorry. All right, thanks for being here. Long show today. I apologize, but come join us over on 15 minutes. And thank you, Chataria. Thank you, Mods. Thank you for everybody who's bought me a cup of coffee. Please come join us in October. Jock Doubleday will be with us now. He's going to be doing something very interesting at our event. And if you stick around after the event, maybe Jock will take you out to the riverbeds and show you his terra forma in real time. I bet you if you ask him nice enough, he'll do it. So please join us in October and treat each other well. Have a blessed day. And use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart to step what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. For now.